Hi, and welcome to the slow version of the midterm lab prep. We'll be going through this nice and slow in this video. I'll explain every step that I'm doing, and if you want a faster version, you can go to the fast version that's listed right below this one to get a faster look at the stuff that I'm doing without explanations, maybe if you're on your second time through. So let's just orientate ourselves with the workbook. The first sheet, we can see we've got some lookup tables. We got some lookup tables. Looks like we'll be looking things up by maybe by price here, and then by package number over here, using this to get this information back. And then we've got a data sheet in which we're going to be using that information in those lookup tables to fill out a bunch of information about some different trips that are taking place there. We've got another area of input up here, and then we'll be doing some functions here. On the summary sheet, we'll be doing some tread lines and an if statement over here. All right, let's hop back over here. And right now I have the instructions for the midterm lab prep printed out in front of me. I would recommend that you do the same if you're following along. So starting with instruction number 2, it says to assign the range name rates to the base price and commissions. That'd be right here. So I'm going to use this, I'm going to call this this range rates. I'm doing this with the intention of doing a VLOOKUP, so I won't include the headers. I'm just going to take this right here, this right here, and I'm going to make that rates. Enter. And then it also says to assign the name tours over here for this tour package lookup table over here. Again, I'll be doing this with the intention of doing a VLOOKUP with this, so I won't include the headers. I'll just start right here. And I'll come up and call this tours. Enter. All right, we're on to instruction number 3. It says to go to the data sheet, so we'll come over here to the data sheet. And in D13, so D13, we're going to fill out the trip description here. So the trip description, we're going to use a VLOOKUP that looks up the tour code, back in the tours table, all right, that we just made. All right, and so we're going to go ahead and do that and copy it down. So what would be helpful right now, so that I don't have to flip over to the other page all the time, it'd be helpful for me to go back over here and look and say, so let's see here, so here's my tours table named tours, right, named tours, and then I've got tour description in the second column, departure date in the third, and base cost in the fourth. So that I just know those. If I know the tour description, if I know what rows or columns those are in, that'll be helpful. So 2 for tour description there. I'll hop back over, and that's exactly what I'm going to do here. I'm going to say equals VLOOKUP, tab, right? VLOOKUP. What am I looking up? Well, I'm looking up the tour code right next door, right there, right? Comma, where am I looking up in? Well, that's the tours table. I don't have to click over there. I'll just start writing tours, and it'll come up just like this, and I can just double click on this right there, comma. So I want the trip description. That was number 2, right? That was column number 2. 2. And is that an exact is that an exact match or an approximate match? It's exactly. We're going to go find tour code 20 exactly in that list, right? Okay, and so we're going to go exact match right there. And Control Enter. That's working perfectly, and I'll copy that down, and that's just beautiful. Right? Now, for instruction number 4, says go to E13 where I'm at, and do a lookup function that looks up the departure date. Right, that was column 3 back here. Right, 1, 2, 3 departure date right there. Do the same thing I did before. Equals VLOOKUP, and that's going to be looking up the tour code. And I'm going to look that up in the tours table. Double click down there, right? Comma, third column, and that's going to be an exact match. And enter, and copy that down. Now, what have we got going over here? Let's open this up a little bit so we can see what's going on there. Base cost of trip. Well, base cost of trip right there. Column number 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? Column number 4. Come back over here. Let's do that one. Equals VLOOKUP, tour code 20. I'm going to look that up in the tours table, and column index is 4, and that's an exact match. So let me make a point here and say that true will not work here. All right, we've been doing this, but I just want to make a point. I'm going to click on true there just so we can see that this does not work, all right? Does not work, can't do it. And the reason that doesn't work, remember we looked at that. We looked at that recently in our other homework, and the reason for that is because these numbers, these are unique numbers, and they're not in sequence. They're not running in ascending order. So this will not work. You got to use an exact match. Let's just get back in here, and we'll just edit this, and we'll edit that true to the false that it should have been all along, right? Come back, and we'll make that the false that it should have been, false. And that's going to work beautifully. It'll work out just fine, right? Just fine. Okay. Now, there we go. And so that was number 5. Lookup function for that. Yep. Okay. Base cost of trip. Copy that down. Great. Okay. And G13 right here, we're going to insert a formula that adds taxes and fees to the base cost of the trip. So basically, we're just going to do like a growth formula here, right? We're going to say equals. We're going to say take the base cost of the trip, and to that, I want you to add the base cost of the trip times the tax rate. And the tax rate is right up here, this 20%. So I'm just going to multiply that times 20. So it's just a growth formula, right? And Control Enter, and that's working out just fine. I'll copy that down. And ooh, what happened here? Hey, look at that. I get this error message popping up. Does any of this stuff make sense? No, it certainly doesn't, right? 1713, that's the same as this. And whoa, what's this? Millions of dollars. Look at what I did, right? Look at what I did. I forgot to lock down that one right there. I don't want that to be floating down through here. Let's take a look at it. Sure enough, it's floating down through here. No good. No good. I'm going to come back up here, and I'm going to take this right here, this B5, and I'm going to hit the F4 key, lock that down, and then we're going to be in good shape. Let me copy that down, and there we go. Much better. And now it says in age 13, use a payment function to calculate the payments the students would make here. Now this is going to be our PMT function, and of course, whenever we do our PMT function, we have to get everything into the appropriate units, right? Generally monthly units, because generally we're talking about monthly payments. But hey, take a look at this. They're throwing us a curveball. Total payments, NPER, is already provided as 3, right? Usually when we came up with the total payments, we would say, okay, there's 12 payments in a year and there's 5 years, so it's 60, right? That's how we usually find the total payments. But here they're saying, hey, the total payments in this loan is 3. These are student adventure trips, right? So they're just going to pay, and they're going to make one payment in fall term, one in winter term, one in spring term. Right? So just 3 payments for the entire amount of this loan. So with that in mind, I'm going to say equals and say PMT, right? And open that up. And I think I'm going to use the dialog box launcher because it makes it so easy. I'm going to come down here and I'm going to say, hey, what's the rate? Well, I'm given an APR, an annual percentage rate. So I need to take that and I need to divide that by the months in the year, and that'll give me the monthly interest rate. Okay? So when I copy this down, do I want these things to change and head down here? I sure don't. So I'm gonna highlight all that, hit F4 and lock all that down. Right? Now, the number of payments, the total number of payments in the loan, I'm given that right there. It's 3. I just go click 3, and I'm not going to multiply that by anything. Hit F4, and I want that moving around on me. Now, the present value of this loan, that's this total cost with taxes right there. So I'm going to go negative, so I'll have a positive number there, and grab that right there. Do I want that to move as I copy down? I sure do. I wanted that to move with all these things. I'm done. That's all I need. These are optional arguments down here. I'm going to say OK, and boom, just like that. There's my payment. And whenever we do a mathematical calculation, we always want to ask ourselves, is this reasonable? Will 3 payments of $754 pay off $2,236? Sure will. That looks very reasonable. Right? I'm going to copy that down, and that's working beautifully. The last column here for us, this is going to be, let's see here. It's going to be I-13, and it says for us to calculate the agent commission using the base cost of the trip and a VLOOKUP function that returns the commission rate. Okay, so this is what we're going to do. We're going to hop back over here and look at this lookup table and say that, hey, in our rates table, right, we have a range here. We have a range. If the base price is less than $17.49, then it should be a 2.5% commission. If it's less than $18.49, it should be a 3.5% commission. Okay? So that's our rates table there. But what we're going to do now, is we're going to say, hey, here is so we're using the base, here is the base cost of the trip. On a trip of that amount, what should the commission in dollars be over here, right? So we're going to say, hey, let's go and let's look up that that rate over here. So I'm going to go look up this base cost of trip, right? And look it up in the rates table, right? Look it up in the rates table. There's only 2 columns in that one, so I'll look up the second column. And is that going to be an approximate match or an exact match, right? It's going to be an approximate match. This is exactly the kind of situation where we use true, and a range lookup. Right? I'm going to click on that, and we'll do that, and that's working perfectly. Let me go back over there and show you why, all right? Why is this a range lookup? Well, if we look here, where is 1864 in that chart? 1864 is what we're looking up. 1864 is nowhere in that chart. If you try and look that up exactly, let's see what happens. If we come over here and we say, hey, don't do an approximate match, instead do an exact match, what do you think it's going to say? Not available, right? 1864 does not exist in this. What we need is a range lookup that says, hey, are you 1864 bigger than 1699? Yes. Are you bigger than 1749? Yes. Are you bigger than 1799? Yes. Are you bigger than 1849? Yes. Are you bigger than 1899? No. Then go back to this one and give me what you find here. And that's just what it did. If we come back over here and we make this work again by going over here and making this into, oops, don't do the whole thing. If we go over here and we make this into an exact match, that's, sorry, a range lookup, a true, right? If we go true, approximate match, and then do it, sure enough, that's exactly what we get is the 4%. Right? But we're not done. We wanted to take that 4% that gets returned, and we wanted to multiply that by the base cost of the trip. And that'll give us the dollar amount that we're expecting to get there. Right? I'm going to copy that down, and is that good? I'm going to double check. This is doing that to that. Yep, okay, and this is doing that. Okay, that looks good. All right. Let's see. So our next one in instruction number 9 says merge and center the main title on the first row over all the columns of data. All right, so here's our title and our subtitle, right? And so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to grab this, and I'm going to grab this first one right here and bring this across to all these guys like this, and now I'm going to say, let's see, merge and center. So I come right up here to my merge and center button, click that. There we go, merged and centered. And then I'm going to apply 18-point font size. So I'll just click right in there and come up to 18-point right there, 18-point. Great. Now merge and center the center subtitle. All right, I'm going to go ahead and grab that guy there and bring that all the way across also. Ooh, it looks like I did this one too far. I went too far with that one. I'll have to fix that. Okay, so I'm going to go merge and center there. This one I went one cell too far. So I'm going to go ahead and grab this one here, and I'm going to unmerge that one. And now I'm going to grab this and just come over to where I was supposed to, which was just I, and merge and center. There we go. All right, great. Okay, okay. Apply currency, this is number 10. Apply currency number format to the monetary values in columns F, G, H, and I. So let's see here. We're going to come right to this one, F, G, H, and I. And I'm going to go and throw, let's see here. So currency format, and it doesn't say how many decimal places, so I'll just go currency and just leave it just like that. Right? Great. Okay. It says hide the tour column. Sure, that's not adding any value. We can just hide that. No problem. Hide it. Boom, just like that. Great. Right? Let's see here. In 11, it says wrap the text in range A, F12, I12. All right, so we come here. We go F12 right there, right? And then we come over to I12 right there. Right? And we're going to wrap that text. Wrap text is right up here. Click on that one. Boom, just like that. It says set the column widths for these columns to 11. So it's just these guys here. Those ones we got there. No, I could just grab in here and like try and hit 11, but whenever I'm going for an exact number, it's always so much easier to right click and just come down here and go column width, and then I'll just type 11 in here, and it's so much easier. Okay, there we go. Boom. And that should have set all of those. It should have set all of those. Let's just double check that, and it did. Yep, all of those are set. Great. Okay. And what's our next thing? Ooh, freeze the pane so that the row of column labels does not scroll off the screen. So to do that, that's going to be this row right here. Okay, we want this one to stay put and for these to move. To do that, what we do is we come down here and we go to 13. We want to lock 12. So we come to 13 right there, and then we go up and we just go ahead and click this cell right here, right, that one. And that'll do is that'll lock this and this when we come up here and we go view and we go freeze panes, and I say, hey, just go ahead and freeze panes right here. Boom, like that. That locks the one above, and now when I scroll, it's like that. Okay, and if there was stuff to the left, this would also be locked right here. But we only have stuff above, right? So you just go to this one right here, then you total lock, and that makes that the one above it the one that's locked down. Okay. Okay, we're going to, in number 12, we're going to apply light red fill with dark red text conditional formatting to values in the total cost with taxes column when the values are above average. Well, that was a mouthful. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to do some conditional formatting on the total cost with taxes column. So I'll just select that total cost with taxes right there. And then we'll go to conditional formatting, which is on the home tab, conditional formatting right here. And to values when they're above average. Okay, so highlight cell rules right here, top bottom rules, and I've got above average right there. And the default is light red with dark red text, and that's just right there. Okay, great. And that's exactly what it asked me to do. All right. Instruction 13 tells me to start inserting some functions up here, right? No problem. Summary functions. All right, so we're going to figure out the total for all trips, including taxes, right? And so I'm just going to say, hey, go ahead and sum, right? That's going to be a sum. And let me go ahead and do that. All of them including, so that's going to be this one right here, cost of taxes. Be right there. I'm just going to sum those up, and boom, just like that, I get that number there. Right? And then in G10, hang on. Oh, no, sorry. And then let's see here. In G, that was in G5. Then it says in G6, I'm going to do the average, and in G7, I'll do the median. No problem. I'm going to go ahead and go average right there, average, and we'll do the same thing. Okay. And then just below that, I'm going to go for the median, right? The median, got to spell that correctly. All right, I'm going to go with the median of that same range. Good deal. All right, and now it wants me to calculate the lowest. That'll be the min, the highest, the max, and then I'm going to do today's date in here. That'll be the today function. Right? So here for this one, I'll go min, and let's go ahead and go figure that one out. Same thing, same range. All right. Here, I'm going to go with max, same range. And this final one right here, I'm going to use the today function, right? Let me make sure about that. Go up here, yep, and the function today's date. That's exactly what I'm doing. Today function. And boom, that gives me away, right? Today is 3/22/16 for me. I'm sure this is some way far off date for you from then, right? I've probably been using this video for a while. Okay, hey, let's keep on moving. We're almost done here. Let's see here. We're going to copy this sheet, and we're going to do something interesting with it on another sheet. So I'm going to copy the data sheet and place the copied sheet before the summary sheet. So there's a couple ways to copy a sheet, right? I can go here and I can go move or copy. I can click create a copy and then it says to what? It says to put it in front of the summary sheet. And so I just go like right here before summary sheet, okay. And that would work, and that'll put it right there. But I'm going to go ahead and delete that because there's a faster way, and I'm all about teaching you the faster ways to do things. It says to make a copy of the data sheet and place it before the summary sheet. I'm just going to go here, click like I'm going to move it, right? This is just moving it. And then I'm going to hit the control key. See that plus that appeared in this thing right here? See how that plus appears? When I hit the control key, that appears, and that means copy. Then I just let go of the mouse, and boom, it makes a copy. That's much faster, right? Okay, now I'm going to come down here and just double click to rename this. And I have double clicked on that, and I'm going to rename this as, what does it say to, oh, it says just keep it as data sheet 2. Well, that's weird. Okay, so I'm just going to leave it just like that. Weird. All right, we're just going to call it data sheet 2 or just data 2. And what I'm going to do is it says for me to remove the conditional formatting. All right, so on this new one here, I'm just going to come up to remove the conditional formatting. I could do it a couple ways. I could highlight this and then just remove it there. But since it's only on this sheet, I'm just going to come up and go conditional formatting, clear rules and choose on this entire sheet and just get rid of everything. Right? Now, it says for me to convert the data in range 2 sheet to a table, right? So what have we got here, right? The data here in this sheet. Well, this is a proper data set, right? Surrounded by empty cells, right? Surrounded by empty cells. The fields have descriptive field headers in them, right? I have records and transactions in all the rows, no empty spaces. This is a proper data set. It's primed for me to make an Excel table, no problem. So all I'll have to do is just click anywhere inside of that and come up and say insert, go for table right here, Excel table, boom, just like that. My table has headers, okay, and boom, it makes it just like that, right? Okay, and all right, so we made it into a table, and now we're going to apply table style medium 21 to it. So we're just going to go to table styles up here, and we're going to come down here to medium, and we'll scroll through here, and we'll say, hey, what have I got here? This is 23, 22, 21 right there. Select that, right? Now I'm going to sort the table by departure date, right? Departure date, oldest to newest. So I'll come over here and go departure date, oldest to newest right there, great. And then alphabetically by trip description. Come over here to trip description, and I'll go alphabetically A to Z, right? Okay. Apply a filter to display trips arranged by agents Avery and Ross only. I'll come over here and I'll go, hey, I'm only interested in Avery and Ross. Okay. And we're looking pretty good here. Yep, everything arranged just the way we want it. Okay. Now it says for me to display a total row. Well, hey, that's easy, right? Click anywhere inside of this so that we get our table tools design that comes up. Say click a total row, add that to that, and select a function that calculates the totals for all the monetary columns. 1, 2, 3, 4 monetary columns. I'm just going to go ahead and say, hey, let's go ahead and sum this stuff up, and then I will just go ahead and copy this across just like that. And we've got the sum function now working in each one of these things, right? You could have just gone through also, you could have just gone through and selected this each time. You could have gone sum for each one of these things. All right, that's it for this one. And next we'll move over to our summary sheet. The summary worksheet here. And I'm going to add some spark lines. No problem. Well, how do I do that? They want me to put them in column H. I could start in H, but I don't have to. I can start anywhere and just come in and tell it after I start making the spark lines. And it says it wants me to add line spark lines, right? Line spark lines are right there. And it asks me, hey, what's the data range that you're going to build these spark lines out of? Well, that data right there, okay? And where am I going to put it? I'm going to put them right here, okay? Put them right there, and click OK. And there they are. They're gorgeous, right? All right, and they want me to show the high point. All right, so spark lines, like a lot of other things, have contextual tabs just for them. Design. I'll come over here and right here we'll say show us the high point, and it does. Wants us to go spark line style accent 1 darker 50. So the styles are right here. Drop that down. Accent 1 darker 50. First one in there. No problem. So if needed, we'll apply blue accent 1 to the high point marker color. I don't think we have to. This actually looks like that color right there. Well, let's just check. We'll go marker color, high point, and take a look at the one that's selected, blue accent 1. Yeah, it's already done, right? So great. We'll just double check that, which we did, and we're looking pretty good here. Looking pretty good. I'm moving on to step number 20. The nested if function. All right, so this is the most difficult step in the midterm exam here, and so we'll just work through this. So essentially, what we're going to do is we're going to use an if statement here. We're going to use an if statement right here, and what we're going to do is we're going to say, hey, we're going to say if I average sales, if I average sales over these 6 months. Is that average higher, is it greater than the average of everybody's sales over those 6 months? Because if it is, the guy really deserves a bonus. He did better than everybody else on average, right? And so that's how we're going to do this. And so let's read what this question says. It says insert an if function that tests if an agent's average sales is greater than the average of all the sales in the 6 months. Right? If the agent's average is greater than the average of all sales, they earn a $500 bonus right down here, $500 bonus. And if not, they don't get a bonus at all. They get 0. All right. So how are we going to do this? Well, we're going to nest the average function twice into the logical statement of our if function. Not that tough. A little something here, but let's just do it. Okay, equals if. All right. So we've got a logical test to write right here. We got a logical test to write. And so a logical test could test functions, no problem. We'll say, hey, average, right? So the average of all 6 months of these, right? Now, when I copy this if statement down, do I want that reference to move? I do, right? I want to test Avery's average over the 6 months, and then I want to test Colin's average over the 6 months, and then Kinsley's. Okay, so I want that to move. I'm going to leave that alone. So if average and average B3 G3 is greater than, if what you find there in your average there is greater than the average for the entire data set, right? The entire group of 6 month sales. All right, so now as I copy this formula down, do I want this larger range to move, right? No, I don't, right? Because it would just move out into empty space. It would move down here and here and here. I always want to look at the 6 month average of all of these guys. So I'm going to lock that one down with the F4 key. So this is just one big logical statement right now, just if I was asking if 3 was greater than 2, right? Is the average here greater than the average of all of those, right? So that's the first part of my if statement. Now I'll go comma. So if that turns out to be true, if the average of Avery's stuff is greater than the average of everyone else's, what do I want to have happen? Well, I want him to get this bonus right here, this 500. And if not, I want him to get 0. And that, click enter, working so far. Let me copy that down. Oh, hey, something's wrong. Hey, you know what I bet it is? All right, let's take a look at that. All right, so I would have expected to see numbers here. What happened? Well, the best check is to come down here into this bottom cell, check it and say, whoa, what are we doing out here? What are we doing down here? We should have been up here, right? Everything else looks good, but what are we doing down here? Well, up here, I didn't lock down this cell reference right here, right? Did I want that to move? Heck no. F4, lock that down, and now I'll copy that down again, and copy that down again. Ah, there we go. Now it's working. Let's get down here. Yep, everything's working perfectly. Okay, good shape there. Last couple directions, we're almost done. In instruction number 21, we're going to create a clustered column chart. Right? We're going to create a clustered column chart using this data. Right? And that's going to be easy. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to create it using the 6 months of sales. We want to use the chart type that displays months on the category axis, no problem. And then we're going to move that chart to a new chart sheet, and we're going to call that sales chart. So when we make a bar chart, we want something like this that's going to have the category and value axis with values in here. That's exactly how we want that set up. So I'll come here and I'll select the 2D clustered column chart. Okay. And there we go, right? It said it wanted the categories on the value axis. We got it right. Oh, sorry, we wanted the months on the category axis, and that's what we've got, right? So now we're going to go ahead and we're going to move this. We're going to move this right here, move chart, and we're going to move to a new sheet, and we're going to call that sheet sales chart. Make sure we're spelling there. Sales chart looks good. Okay, zap, takes it on over to this new sheet for us. And what does it want us to do to this? It says to apply layout 1 chart style, no problem. We just come up here, quick layout, layout 1, no problem. Style 14, all right, so here's our styles. Come down here, the very last one is style 14, no problem, looking pretty snazzy. And then we're going to change the chart title. All right, so I'm going to click right there, and I'm going to come on up into the formula bar here, and I'm going to write January-June 2016 sales by agent. January-June 2016 sales by agent. Enter. And I'm going to double check this really close for typos because that'll screw me up for sure. January-June 2016 sales by agent. It looks good to me, I'll hope. And that's it for the chart. And now it wants me to put in a custom footer. Right? It says create a footer with the sheet tab code in the center and file name code on the right side of each sheet. Right? So if I'm going to do something to all the sheets, I'm going to go ahead and group all these sheets. I'll just go ahead and I'll go the lookup table here, and I'll go to this tab here, and then I'll go clear over to this table, this tab over here. I'm going to hold down Shift and left click my mouse, and that selects all of those sheets together at the same time. And now I can do stuff to all of them at the same time. And I'm going to come up to Page Layout, open up the dialog box for Page Setup, come over to Header, Footer, and then choose Custom Footer. Okay, Custom Footer. And they wanted the sheet tab code in the center, so I'll come down here to the center, and I'll go up here and I'll find the sheet tab, right? Sheet name right there, okay. All right, and then they want the file name code on the right-hand side, and that'll be this guy right here, the file name. We got that, and I'll click OK. And print preview, and I'll click through these. Everything looks really good. Looks good, it's all there. Oh, but hey, look at that. On the chart sheet, it didn't work, okay? The chart sheet is different. The chart sheet needs to be done all on its own. Let's take a look at 7. 7's good. All right, so we need to go back and do the footer manually for the sales chart sheet. So I'm going to come up and do that again. Open this up. Go to the header footer, and I'll go to footer. Again, putting the sheet tab there and the file tab there, clicking OK. We'll preview that, and it looks good. There it is. All right. Hey, we're almost done. All right. All we're going to do is we're going to do a couple things to the data and the data 2 worksheets. So I'm going to go ahead and select those together. I'll select data, and then I'm going to hit Control and hold that down, and then go left click on the data 2 sheet. They're locked together now, and I'll make some changes to both of them at the same time. So I want to do margins, scale to 1 page, and select landscape orientation. Best place to do that is going to be right here in the dialog box for page setup. And we'll do this in the order they're telling us to do it, right? We'll go margins and left down to 2. Oops, 2.5. Uh-oh, I went too far. 2. I just need 2. And then over to right, down to 2. Great. And now I need to scale this to 1 page. It's going to be back on page. I'm going to scale to fit to 1 page, width and height. And I'm going to go landscape orientation. Select landscape orientation for the data 2 worksheet only. Hey, look at that. Okay, so I'm going to go back to portrait and go OK. All right, so now I'm going to ungroup these worksheets. I'm going to go just to the data 2 worksheet here. And this one, well, I can just go orientation right there and go landscape. All right. Hey, we're done. That was it. All we got to do is save the workbook, right? So we're going to go ensure the worksheets are named correctly, right? So lookup table, data, data 2, sales chart, summary. Sales chart is the only one we really named, and that looks good. And then make sure in the right order, right? Lookup table, data, data 2, sales chart, summary. Hey, we are in good shape, right? All we got to do is just, save this thing, and we are done, right? So there you go. There is your midterm review. Practice that a couple times. You're going to be able to do that in 45 minutes or less. And you need to pass the midterm to pass the class. So please do practice before you show up to lab. Good luck.